Fever fans loving first look photo of Indiana's new future. Here's everything Indiana Fever coach said about Caitlin Clark and more. Monday represented a massive moment for the Indiana Fever's future. This is because they held a press conference that officially announced their hiring of former Connecticut Sun coach Stephanie White, while Fever cornerstone players Caitlin Clark, Aliyah Boston, and Lexi Hull were in attendance. White sat at the dais alongside President of Basketball and Business Operations Kelly Krauskopf and Chief Operating Officer / General Manager Amber Cox, and waxed poetic about how joining Indiana once again is a homecoming moment for her, how she plans to improve the Fever as a team next season, and even claimed that Clark and Boston are going to go down in history as the greatest point guard / post player combination our game, not just our league, but our game has seen after the press conference ended. White took a photo posing alongside Clark, Boston, and Hull, all of whom look very happy, which the Fever's X account posted. Fever fans could not be happier about seeing their future all together in this way, and made that apparent in their responses. "The future is bright in Indiana," wrote X-user at Krista. "I was impressed with Stephanie before she came home, but now I am even more thankful and excited about the future of Fever basketball," another fan added. A third fan reposted the photo along with another photo of the three Fever players listening to White speak at the press conference and wrote, "They all love each other so much. The vibes are extremely high right now in Indiana." But the bad news is that Fever fans will have to wait until spring before their beloved team takes the court once again. Think about the momentum moving forward, where we wanted this league to be, where we still aspire for it to go, and just embrace this moment, embrace this opportunity. Continue to help this team, this franchise, be better position ourselves for success. Stephanie White said in her first interview to NBA Today since accepting the head coach position at the Indiana Fever. Though Christie's sides had taken the Fever to their first playoffs since 2016, coming back to White meant that the franchise was looking for changes. While firing sides, even the president of basketball operations, Kelly Krauskopf, voiced for maximizing our talent and bringing another WNBA championship back to Indiana. Therefore, White will be making some notable changes in accordance with their goals. And in her introductory press conference, the team mentioned just that. White opined that the Fever should now adopt a fast-paced, up-tempo style of play. Throughout the season, the Fever were known for the backcourt that they formed with Kelsey Mitchell and Caitlin Clark. However, a fast-paced play would mean more scoring opportunities for the Fever. Adding to that, the former Connecticut Sun coach mentioned building quality depth and getting teammates better. Plus, next season, with the addition of Golden State Valkyries, every team would play 44 games in the regular season, and so, naturally, White was concerned about having top-notch rotations. She also pointed out that she will encourage players and position themselves to win the playoff series, something they couldn't do this year. Stephanie White reaffirms faith in Caitlin Clark and Aliyah Boston, while agreeing with Kelly Krauskopf.
Got a little clip of the press conference right now. Roll the footage.
Differently or more effectively with this group than in past?
Well, I think, first and foremost, obviously, they're an exciting team to watch. I think offensively, we can be more creative. I think we can utilize, more versatility, utilize the certain players in different ways. I'm a forward-thinking, outside-the-box kind of coach. I like to challenge them on a number of levels. They're a high IQ team, so also giving them the freedom to make plays. Like, you want to make plays, you don't run plays. Everybody knows at the end of the day, players win the ball games, right? You got to give them the freedom, the confidence to believe in their abilities to make those plays, but also a little bit of the structure to help them see the different ways that you can attack. I think we've got to get better on the defensive end of the floor. Certainly, we don't have to make leaps and bounds and go from wherever we are to the top, right? But we've got to continue to get better. We've got to make sure on the days that shots aren't falling that we're able to position ourselves to win ball games. And, I was never a player who played defense. Dunn can attest to that. But it is a big part of how I coach. And so, yeah, see, I know, I see you agreeing right there. You like that. But it is a big part of how I coach, and it's an important piece of us positioning ourselves to win ball. Up-tempo style of play. They're sharing the basketball, making teammates better, building quality depth. I always said this as a coach the last 2 years, but with this team as well, it's a long season. And next season, 44 games. We want to get a quality rotation. We want to put the best players who play well together on the floor in a consistent rotation. And we got to play the long game. Certainly you want to win every game, and you want to compete every game, but playing the long game, positioning yourselves for the playoffs, positioning yourselves to win playoff series is important. I think first and foremost, they're both incredibly competitive players, and there's a fire and a mentality that you can't teach when it comes to competitive spirit, and when it comes to being a great teammate, and when it comes to lifting those up around you, and watching both of them grow into not just the players that they are, but grow into the spotlight that they have, how they lead. How they make their teammates better, how they lift one another up, how they've handled, all of the things that have come their way. And all of those things that come your way are certainly earned when you're put in this position, right? It's like, people say it all the time, like, oh man, you hate to be. No, you don't. Like, as an athlete, this is what you want, right? You want to be the one that is the hunted. You want to be the one that had the opportunity to impact, and not just impacting, little girls and boys, but impacting the game, impacting your team, impacting our culture. And these two have led the way with that. And then you put it together and you've got the point guard in the center. Are you kidding me? Like, you've got the bookends that you want to build around. And these two are the best. And I think that there's so many things that they do well right now, and you saw the difference from the beginning of the season to the end of the season, and how much better they got with one another, how much they could anticipate what one another was going to do, how they facilitated with one another. But there's so much room for growth. When you think about a Stockton and Malone, right? You think I know you guys are too young for that reference, but when you think about the great point guards and post players that our game, not just our league, but our game has seen, they are going to go as the greatest. And I'm excited about the opportunity to work with them. I'm excited about the opportunity that we have to build from those starting points and build out, and for the longevity that those two could have in Indiana, in Indianapolis, and hanging banners in this building. All of those things are so exciting. The future's really bright.
What's up, everyone? What a day it's been for Indiana Fever fans and pretty much Caitlin Clark fans all over the nation. Coach Stephanie White held a big press conference earlier, but I had to jump back on here because she just wrapped up her first exclusive one-on-one interview with the Fever. And let me tell you, she dropped some major information. Now, here's what's interesting. In the main press conference, there wasn't much focus on Kelsey Mitchell. It was mostly about Aliyah Boston and the beast herself, Caitlin Clark. But in this interview, Stephanie wasted no time opening up about Kelsey, and she made it clear just how essential Kelsey is to the future of this team. Kelsey's been going through some contract propositions and negotiations recently, and Coach Steph made it a priority to spotlight her in this one-on-one. And that's exactly what we want to hear. Kelsey is a big-time playmaker, and in my opinion, she's the heart and soul of that locker room. She's the leader of this team, and it's about time we start seeing her recognized as such. The Fever need to make her a core part of the system they're building out in Indiana. And that's not all. Stephanie also shared her plans to get Caitlin, Aliyah, and the entire Fever roster ready for the 2025 season. The league has leveled up big time. Every team has gotten better, and any team can pull off an upset on any given night. The WNBA is at the highest point it's ever been, and Stephanie's got her eye on making sure the Fever can compete at that level. All right, I've said enough. You know what to do. Roll the footage.
And the people that you want to go to battle with every single day.
Hello and welcome into Inside Fever Basketball. I'm Pat Boylan, and we are thrilled to be joined by the next head coach of the Indiana Fever, Stephanie White. Stephanie, your roots in basketball are so deep as maybe anybody in the history of this state. Miss Basketball, national champion at Purdue, a player for the Fever, a coach for the Fever. So why is right now the right time for you to return to Indiana?
You know, I can't imagine the stars aligning any better. You know, certainly after having gone off and had a number of other experiences from a coaching standpoint, growing up, learning, the Fever going through some changes as well. And now at this point where basketball has taken to another level in the WNBA and for the Indiana Fever, and to be able to come back and work with another 22, you know, a generational player in Caitlin Clark, a generational player in Aliyah Boston, certainly when you think about back-to-back Rookie of the Years and what each of those players have done up until this point for their universities, in the game of basketball, for the women's basketball culture and community. It's unprecedented. And to be able to work with those guys and Kelsey Mitchell, who I think has weathered the storm of Indiana Fever basketball, and I felt like had the best year of her career, you know, this year. And really, when you think about teams, you think about a core three, right? You think about a big three. And to be able to work with that big three, and continue to work and put pieces around them to compete for a championship, back in my home state, it couldn't have aligned any better.
I want to ask you about all those big three, but let's start here with Caitlin and the opportunity and the inflection point that this league and this franchise is on right now. How excited are you? How would you describe the opportunity in front of you to get to coach a transcendent athlete like Caitlin Clark?
Yeah, it's you know, it's interesting because I've been able to see it from the sideline for so many years with her, and I will never forget calling a game at Maryland last year, and I was in the same hotel as them for the first time, and I came down the escalator, had to have been 3 hours before the game, maybe 3.5 hours before the game, and the lobby was full. The only other time I'd seen that was when I'm at an NBA or NFL event, right? And they're in the hotel lobby and it's just packed and it's roped off. And this was at Maryland. And 3.5 hours before the game, when I'm leaving to go over to do my commentating duties, the gym is 1.5 miles away. It took me 45 minutes to get there. It was nuts. It was insane. And, you know, for the first time, you know, calling her games on the road in a sold out environment and seeing the hoopla, you know, I guess you could say Taylor Swift 2.0. It was like, this is the moment that we've reached. And this could be the first time that we've seen the carryover from college to the WNBA. Because there are a lot of basketball players in the WNBA who've played in sold out arenas in college. Like that's become a commonplace. But it had not transitioned and transferred from college fandom to WNBA fandom. And when the number one pick was called, the first game that she played and the consequentially many games since, you've seen it. And so to be able to be at this pivotal moment is incredible. I really can't put it into words because when I coached that one, number 24 here, and we were starting this Indiana Fever franchise to now, this is what we've envisioned. And so to be able to be a part of it on this side and to help take it to another level, I'm incredibly excited and grateful.
You've never shied away from the spotlight, never shied away from the pressure as a player, as a coach, I assume as a broadcaster too, maybe not quite as much pressure, but this is going to come with a big spotlight. Have you thought about all of that here as you transition into this role?
I haven't thought about it too much. You know, I think, you know, I think a little bit about Joe Mazzulla when he talks about like, we get to do this, right? Like you get this opportunity as a player for Caitlin Clark and Aliyah Boston. Like, this is what you've wanted, right? To be in a position to be not just considered some of the greatest athletes, but to position our game to have all eyes on it. You know, and for me, you know, I've learned as I've gotten older how to protect my peace, so to speak. You know, I probably as a young coach would not have been equipped enough to be in these situations. You know, I'm still a human being, so emotionally sometimes it you know, you get caught up in some things, but at the same time, you know, I think I've grown so much. You know, I'm very secure in what I bring to the table and who I am and the opportunity that presents itself. You know, I get to do this. I don't have to do this, and I love to do this. So I think for me, in this moment, I'm just more excited about embracing this opportunity that we have to do some special things together.
You mentioned Aliyah Boston, she and Caitlin Clark, that duo. What are they capable of? And as you start to formulate how everything looks going forward here for the Indiana Fever, what does their path the next year, 3, 5 years look like in your vision?
I think they could go down as one of the premier duos in the history of women's basketball. We talk about a lot on the broadcasting side, especially, the scoring duos, right? Whether you're talking about, on the men's side, a Luka and a Kyrie, right? Or you're talking about on the women's side, a Diana and BG, right? So I think that they have an opportunity to go down as one of the premier scoring duos, in the history of the league. But I also think, because of the types of people that they are, and because of the types of leaders that they are and human beings that they are two people who impact community, impact franchises because of who they are, just as much as impacting the game of basketball because of the numbers that they put up on the floor. So I think we can see, a transcendent duo with those two. And I'm excited about working with them because I think they're really just scratching the surface in how they play with one another, certainly, but in the impact that they can make in the whole of a team because of the different ways that you can use them. So I'm excited to get creative. I'm excited about, talking to them about different things that they've seen, that they enjoy, different visions that they have for their game and for our team.
You've coached superstars. Alyssa Thomas as recently as a couple of months ago. Tamika Catchings, she's all over this wall, all over this building. Established players too. How much excitement in this opportunity is the ability to come in with a couple of future superstars who you can kind of help shape and mold here a little
That's exciting. That has a different energy about it. It's when you come in with veteran players, sometimes they're kind of set in their ways a little bit. Tamika, I was fortunate to be a teammate of hers prior to coaching her. But there's no substitute for experience. I know I keep saying that, but young players, they don't know what they don't know. They haven't really been through it. And getting experience on the floor is one thing, but helping them navigate all of the nuance that comes with being, who they are in this city, in this franchise, in this league, and what it takes to get to the next level. It's not just throw the ball out with a bunch of great players and play. It just doesn't work like that. We'd see a number of champions if it was like that. It's about timing. It's about experience. It's about adjustments. It's about staying healthy. There's so many things that have to line up. That's why you don't see many dynasties, right? There's so many things that have to line up to position yourself to win a championship and to try to help them navigate this. Having been a person who has been a player in this league, an assistant coach in this league, and a head coach in this league over the course of 25 years, right? To know that I have had this many experiences. It is a different time in the WNBA. There are different things to navigate, but having resources with myself and hopefully with my staff that have been able to navigate that can not just help them on the court, but hopefully help them off the court and just be a resource for them.
When you think back to your previous head coaching stint here, now you started in 2015 and then nearly won a championship. You're a game away, so you were ready and that team was ready. But when you talk about the experience you've gotten and how you've grown as a coach, how do you feel different now maybe than when you were taking over in 2015?
I feel more poised. I feel more confident. I feel more settled. I feel like I have a different perspective. I feel very comfortable in who I am as a coach and what I can bring to the table. I feel very, very comfortable in understanding that it takes the whole. Leaning on and empowering, our assistant coaches, helping them prepare to be head coaches, leaning on and empowering our players. I've always been a two-way communicator, but they're out there on the floor. And every year I've been coaching, I'm further removed from being out there on the floor. So to hear their perspective, to have them tell me what they're seeing, and then to help them see my perspective. I had a coach tell me at one point, players fly at like 10,000 feet, and assistant coaches fly at like 25,000 feet, and head coaches have to fly at like 50,000 feet, right? So you got to see the whole, and just helping walk them through some of these things that may happen in May and June, but are going to be difference makers in September and October. And then continue to grow, continue to learn. I think the day that we're done learning is the day for me to hang it up. There's no doubt about it. Continue to become a better coach, continue to become a better communicator, to become a better strategizer, to become a better practice planner, and grow with our team in order to help us accomplish our ultimate goal, which is to win championships.
Typically, when a coach takes over, there's an adjustment period and some learning, and there will certainly be that. But you're joining a franchise that you've coached and played for before. You're working for Kelly Krauskopf, who has hired you before, who has helped navigate this team, she was the architect of the championship run. Lynn Dunn's an advisor. You've worked with her in many different capacities. And Amber's been all over the WNBA over the last couple of decades. I mean, how much does it help you to come into this situation and have those people around you?
It helps a lot.
If you've made it this far and are enjoying the video, don't forget to subscribe, and turn on all notifications. We know watching this video takes some of your time, and we appreciate you.